Yes, indeed. Good morning and welcome. You're still watching Power Breakfast on Citizen TV, and it's time to take a look at the headlines. And to help us do this, on our news review panel this morning, we have Gladys Wanga, Women Representative, Homa Bay County. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Next to her, we have Cynthia Mutere, Governance Analyst, also the Chair of the Women's League in Fort Kenya.
Morning.
And we have Senator Beatrice Elachi, an aspirant for the Dagoretti North Parliamentary seat. Sorry for that. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Morning. Morning.
Now, the headlines today look, don't know how to describe them, but just as interesting as always. We have NASA starring up Meru and calling on Kiraitu to move to NASA. Senator will tell us, because you are from the Mbas party, yes, and you've worked with Kiraitu Murungi, you'll be telling us why exactly NASA think or imagine that Kiraitu could actually cross the floor to their side. Yes? ESCC says governors will be locked out of polls. They're actually drafting a list of some of the governors, some of whom are already in court charged with corruption. Others have been recommended for charging. Others are under investigation, including Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero. So we've seen some of the photos there on the front page. We'll be discussing that as well. IEBC came out yesterday on to discuss issues of poll timelines. Now, of course, that's another very interesting thing. On page 8 of the Daily Nation, we are on track, says polls team, but NASA says the team is time barred in procurement of key equipment. Where are we exactly? We're still able, because it's only 159 days now to the elections. We'll be discussing that as well. Also, something very interesting here on the front page of the Standard. Gold discovery in Western Kenya. 171 billion shilling gold discovery excites Western. Of course, gold has been described as a curse in that region. Now we see that as a blessing, and both as a blessing and a curse for obvious reasons. But now we see that there's actually huge deposits, and that could change fortunes in Western Kenya. Probably let's even start with that. Senator, I know you have interest in that region. What could this mean for Western Kenya, if indeed it's true that we have such huge deposits of this mine?
Well, first, my interest is that I was born there. But I would say that I know for many years you'd find people going with not just the western side, but the whole of Western and Nyanza with basins. I know in Migori they still do that. They will still look for it. But I think now that we have a mining ministry, and they have been going across the country looking at the different deposits that we have. For us in Western, we would say if indeed we can follow and do the right thing, it can change indeed our lives in Western. But also let us not forget that sometimes, as you say, it becomes a curse. Because when I look at Congo, with all the mines that they have, and the challenges that they go through up to today, Congo Kinshasa, yes, you look at it and you feel that sometimes when the minerals are there, they are good, but if we are not careful also, yes, they can cause conflict. They can change your lives in a different, while you think it will change in bringing up now people with riches, you find you remain as poor and even more poor, yes, than the time you discovered this. So yes, for Western, I think there are lessons to learn. Let us look at even Turkana. They have their deposits of oils, but look, like when I look at Turkana today, yes, I still feel the leaders have sort of just become a few of you who take all these things. So we have to also ask ourselves as leaders. When we see this, you'll find most of the leaders already, they know, because they'll just go and look at the geomap and start buying those deposits. So even those who live there will have a challenge. But I remember in the Senate we did a bill that says natural resources, 20% must go to the community, must empower the community, and must come up with serious social programs to build those communities. So
Cynthia, beyond the excitement, of course, there's a concern, as Senator says, because we've seen the excitement that was created after we were told that we have huge deposits of oil in Turkana. Years later, nothing. You know, now there's excitement in Western Kenya. There's gold worth billions of shillings. Should we even be optimistic about this?
Oh, maybe we're being treated to another thing from the Jubilee government, because in previous regimes, the Ministry of Mining were actually with other ministries, but now for Jubilee to see that it was wise to make it a standalone. We're finally seeing results-based management where at least a standalone ministry now has something to show for what they're doing in the country. So that is good. And then we want to see maybe other ministries also coming to tell us what they are doing. So for the mining industry that for the past 4 years we never heard much about, apart from, of course, discovering oil in Turkana, then it went silent. We hope this work doesn't go silent as well, so where we're seeing that the resources, as you said, that there is legislation to make sure that the people of that community are beneficiaries to whatever resources found in that county. And so that's important. I think every county has that CIDP, the Integrated Development Plan, where they have written some of those pieces of legislation within their plans. And so it's going to be important to see that counties are beneficiaries of these resources. But to really encourage the government that we want to see results from all the ministries.
Yes.
And so it's important that the mining ministry...
Gladys Wanga, are you excited by such a headline?
Well, it's exciting to see that there's gold in Western. It's truly exciting. I think the issues that have been raised are important. I was in Turkana the other day, and the issue of oil is a key hot issue, because the legislation on natural resources puts the community benefits at 10%. When the National Assembly did the Energy and Petroleum Bill and proposed 10% to go down to communities, the President vetoed the bill and said that be reduced to 5%. And this is what communities in Turkana are resisting, because they're saying, well, if we have oil here, if this oil is going to make a difference in our lives, let's have 10% is not too much to ask to come to our communities, 15% to the counties, and then the balance of it to be shared by the rest of Kenya. I think that is not too much to ask. So as
it stands currently is 5%?
It has been vetoed, the bill has been returned, it has been reduced to 5%, and this is what makes us question the sincerity of the Jubilee government in terms of ensuring that local communities actually benefit from what we see as oil, gold, and other natural resources that occur within their localities. Because what is going to result in the abject poverty is very meager resources being deployed back, and then the communities begin to fight, and then they begin to push and pull. So I think the President must really look back, because his veto came more than 14 days ago. The law says if the veto comes in 14 days, it becomes law. So I think as we are quiet here, it has already become law.
Yes.
So it's 5%.
So as it stands, that community can only benefit from 5%.
Which is unfair.
It is unfair.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is an exciting headline. It's on the front page of the Standard. Read for yourself. Reports of high-grade gold discovery in Kakamega County have stirred up excitement across the region. The UK firm behind the find is called Acacia Mining Exploration. However, remains cautious about the latest discovery along the Liranda corridor, saying it is too early to assign value to the gold in the ground. They estimate that it will take at least 3 years, to complete drilling and determine the gold's commercial viability. However, news of the find said to be worth 171 billion is like music to the ears of dozens of impoverished miners in the area, raising hopes for a better life. Yes?
That has been going on for years, so it's not a discovery. But they've said it's a discovery, but it's not a discovery.
I think
economically
without putting it into politics, you know, it's also important. It is a discovery because even me, Cynthia, my sister, we are from Western. We never used to know which corridor has it. So the discovery is you are able now to know where it's really deposited. And I think that's important for now people to know that. So that they don't now start selling their land. So thank you for also saying where it is. So the people of Liranda, don't sell your land, because now many people will come there. Why are we having problem in Turkana? Even our own politicians went and bought those oil, whatever. So in the end, the wells were bought by politicians who discovered first. Both sides. So me, I always say in business, I don't like discussing business in politics, because my brothers from Jubilee and my brothers from the court side are in this business. They are the ones who are making the Turkana people suffer. So even that 5%, maybe it's a discussion from very far, and you think it's representative. Because those are some of the things as women we must talk candidly and not favor these men who do this funny business. So Liranda, don't sell your land.
Yes, at least even if you don't get the benefit
gold
directly from the gold, the land will be an issue.
Yes. Don't sell.
Let's take a look at another very interesting headline. It's on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Alliance High School head quits amid reports of students bullying. Alliance High School principal David Kariuki has quit following allegations of bullying at the school that are said to have left scores of students injured. Now, the bullying was said to have been carried out by prefects and senior students for a long time. Yet the principal had not taken action. Our parents raised the alarm with the Ministry of Education early this year, leading to the investigation. Now, surely, when we hear about a school like Alliance High School reporting cases of bullying, we know surely we have better expectations for such schools. There are schools where we know such cases are even worse. How does this make you feel as a mother?
I think it's a very big concern. It worries us. I think it's very unfortunate that that could be going on at Alliance, because that is a creme de la creme type of students go there. How much? I think the questions we have to ask is how much of it is going on not just in Alliance but in other schools. What action is being taken, not just from an individual school perspective, but what action is being taken at the ministry level, so that we are dealing with it not just at Alliance, but we are putting in place measures to deal with it across all our schools, boys and girls schools. I think all mothers like myself are very concerned right now. If you have your child in boarding school, you're very worried, thinking what could be happening to them. So what I'd like to say is we've seen a lot of radical moves in the Ministry of Education, and we want to call upon the CS to take this as a very, very serious matter and make one of his radical crackdowns to deal with it, because I'm sure our parents are very concerned.
Yes. Now, of course, the Teacher Service Commission has since accepted the request by Mr. Kariuki to retire early before even turn 60. That is positive, because some of these teachers who are running schools like Alliance considered, even if you've been allowed to run Alliance High School, it means you're one of the best probably that we have. But the fact that TSC could say, yes, okay, fine, you can go, it means the problem must have been
much deeper, which is a cause for concern, because really for a principal to throw in the towel, then you haven't, to throw in the towel is quite serious, because really you should be managing the system, because we do know there's bullying. There have been incidences where corporal punishment probably was instituted to try and take care of it, and there have been deaths. I know there was a child who died from even caning. And so that's a concern, that the head of the school throws in the towel instead of sticking with it and managing the process to make sure that at least something is done. So for him to throw in the towel, then we must be looking at now what kind of principals are heading these institutions and what kind of character do you need to be. Maybe he was going through something that he couldn't handle this situation as well. So that's
Senator, of course, now the issue of prefects, because we've seen, and the worst case we saw was some years back in Gary, where now the students turned against the prefects because of something similar. The prefects are given this status in school. They're almost like lords, and then the rest of the students' body or community turns against them, and we saw what happened there. It wasn't, I think they put them in one dormitory and burnt the dormitory. Yes. And it is sad that years later, this is 2017, we are talking about prefects bullying. And I thought we even had discussions in Parliament regarding the same. Where do these discussions go, if at all, in 2017 we're still seeing cases of bullying, and schools don't seem bothered?
First of all, in terms of the discussion, I think as Parliament, it is good they discuss. You create that awareness that there's an issue, and therefore the implementers must take on.
I'm sure there must have been a report or something.
I believe so, and I think it's good to go. Go back in the archives and look at that report. I think it was in Meru, the school that banned. But now, having said that, first of all, it's very unfortunate that the principal had to resign, and for me, and not just resign, but retire early. That shows there is a lot that even us as parents, because now we want to now start blaming the principal, but we need to ask ourselves. And I went somewhere and I was challenged that people have forgotten that family is also an institution that God gave us. And it is so dysfunctional today in our country that we must sit back and ask ourselves, where is the fathers of our children? And where are our mothers? Because it seems mother has taken the bigger burden and is carrying this burden. But there is that God said a father must do to a child. And if father is not there, then that family, children will always have. If mom is not able, because of maybe work or too much on her and her stress to manage, then you'll find the character that now joins the school does what is happening in Alliance. Because ask yourself, why should my child go to a school to bully the other child? It's a family issue now. It's, I mean, fine, you'll say it's peer pressure, we are together, but still, the child who came in with this peer pressure, that it is good to beat a child and even see this child die, there's an issue. And I don't want to say another school, because I know the school has really tried to manage their process, and it will be unfortunate if we say the name here. But also a national school in our country, parents had to just go and pick their children and say they are being sodomized, for heaven's sake. So we must address it. All I know, and I know we want to plead with our members of parliament also, because they have the right to go to schools. They are the ones who are building schools with CDF. They are the ones who are able to meet teachers, have a one-on-one with teachers. It is important as a member of parliament to have that. A one-on-one with teachers, and the schools you have, critical schools. Once in a while, go to the school. Let us have those innovators who used to come and give a talk to school. Not a talk about how you have to pass now, but a talk in terms of our values, a talk in terms of parenting. Because we have many children who are missing parenting. It is not their wish, and they would wish to have somebody. And I like the way Equity does the Fly to Wings program, because you have a mentor you will work with for 4 years.
Okay.
So for me, I want to plead, even schools, look for mentors. Parents, let us have a time where we have, because I know the PTA, we normally have a parent who runs the class.
Yes.
If you see an issue, let's come out and talk as a school. Because now when you do this to Alliance, already parents get alarmed and say, I'd rather go and remove my child from Alliance.
And if it's happening in Alliance High School,
what
it means
about
it's happening in
that
a lot
school
other
called
schools.
Excel or something in I don't know, some funny names that we normally have.
As you correctly put it, yes, there are some schools where it has gone to another level. I remember just last month we were doing news about a school in some place in Western Kenya where cases of sodomy have really gone up. Yes, and it is a national school as well. Now these things are happening in our national schools. It also says something about the kind of society we're building, because this will be the same Kenyans who will come and run this country. Well, time for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the politics. NASA is starting up Meru and inviting Kiraitu Murungi to join NASA. Why that is happening still baffles me. But that when Power Breakfast returns.